the HBC, presented by Chick-fil-A. Visit our locations on Forest Drive and Two Notch Road. When you tailgate, punt the burger, ask the chicken. And by James W. Smith Real Estate at the beach. Ask about our Gamecock off-season special.
Coach, I know that you're focused on your South Carolina team when you go to the Swamp, but you spent about a quarter of your life there. I just wonder about your emotions when you walk on that field. Do you think about your time as a player, as your time as a coach, a little bit of both? What kind of goes through your mind?
Well, mostly probably as a coach, 12 years there. Only played, 3 back in my day. You can only play 3 of the 4 years. But I'll glance up at the wall, see all the championships and so forth that we were fortunate enough to win when I was there. But after that, when the game gets ready to go, I tell you, when you're calling plays, that's the only thing you can think about, trying to get the good plays in there and give Dylan and our guys hopefully a chance to be successful. So after, looking around a little bit, it's just back to coaching our team against another team.
Yeah, I know. I just imagine you have to have those thoughts. Coach, you feeling a little more refreshed after the bye
week or two? Yeah, we're trying to get over it. We've had some tough ones this year, as all of our fans know, and it takes a while to get over them. And I was just sort of thinking back in years past when we were going 11-2 all the time. We were winning these games. We were stopping people and making some plays toward the end of the game. And we just haven't done it very well at the end of the games. And that's why we have the record we have. But we got to carry on. We got to get it behind us, shake it off. And one thing I will want to say positive about our players, I think we've really come to the game ready to play the best we can, mentally and physically. I think the effort's been pretty good at the start of the games. I know we haven't tackled very well late and so forth, but it seems like we're ready to play most of the time, and we haven't got blown out since the first game. That's really no consolation because we haven't finished well, and me and the coaches and the players, we're all to blame for that.
A little practice last night, enthusiastic kids ready?
Yeah, practice was okay Monday night. Yeah, we don't beat them up right now. I've always thought when you're struggling a bit, the coaches are a little lighter on them than when you're winning a lot. I know Vince Lombardi said you got to tell your players the opposite of what everybody else is telling them. And probably our fans and a lot of students, people they see are saying, what's wrong with you guys? But we're hanging in there, and I expect our guys to give a good fight down there in the Swamp.
Last time when you had the bye week, you had the home game against Furman. How different is it to come off the bye week and go on the road?
Well, hopefully the bye week is after a victory. And, of course, this year it's been after Kentucky and after Tennessee, which were similar type games. We couldn't hold the lead, and we got beat. So it wasn't near as much fun as most of my open weeks in my 25 years of coaching college ball. But anyway, you get over it and you get back, get your preparation. Our coaches, I think, have done an excellent job last week practicing, and our players have done well. But we got what we got this year, and we got to get them ready to play and see if we can't play 4 quarters down there.
You mentioned this as one of the big rivalries for the Gamecocks. What's your favorite memory as the head coach of the Gamecocks of the Florida-South Carolina series?
I would probably say the first game. The first game here, we were pretty big underdogs, I guess. I don't know how much, 10 or so. And I don't know if the Gators were really expecting us to put up the game we did. But it was a game we ran the ball very well. I think we only completed like 7 out of 17 passes. Blake Mitchell, Mike Davis, our first Mike Davis, ran for a bunch of yards. And Sidney Rice made some big catches, and we were able to beat them 30-22. And that was the first win over them, basically in school history, since 1939. In conference play, we were 0-13 up to that point. So that was a fun one. And then, of course, the one for the Eastern Division down there was our first ever victory in the Swamp. So that was a big one to win our first ever and only Eastern Division title.
It made you a little nervous when they ran the kickoff back in.
Yeah, but it's interesting. We usually win those games. The other team runs kickoff back for some reason. Vanderbilt, Wisconsin, but that's something we hope don't happen.
You mentioned having a good friendship with Muschamp. Since you've left, how much do you keep in contact with Florida, with the head coaches and different things like that?
No, I don't keep in touch that much. About 3 or 4 years ago, ESPN wanted all the head coaches to go to Bristol, Connecticut. So I called down to Jeremy Foley, still good friends with everybody down there. I said, how about dropping your jet in Columbia on the way up? Because we're right on the way. And he said, okay. So I think we've done that like 3 years in a row now. So Will and I get a chance to talk a little bit. Their sports information director also, Steve McLean, is on the trip. But we don't talk about football much. I just, where you vacation and this, that, and the other. But he's a good guy and well respected around the country, and he's got a good team. And now they got their quarterback situation settled. It seems like we're playing these teams now that they get their quarterback all straightened out. Looks like Clemson's got theirs coming back in a couple of weeks. But it is what it is, and we got to go down there and put up our best fight.
You talked about being a little bit more refreshed, but was the bye week for you when you went down to Florida, went to the beach house, was it the same as anything? You just watched a lot of football?
Well, it wasn't as much fun, like I said, if we'd won. And the way we're losing can keep you up at night, of course. But we got to get over it. We got to move on. We're not the only team watching the games this week. I just couldn't believe Auburn fumbled on the 1-yard line and fumbled again down on about the 20 or so. That was their team doesn't do that kind of stuff. I was sort of saying, how come those other guys can't fumble when we're playing them? But yeah, everybody has tough losses. LSU had a tough one. My buddy Bobby Stoops had a very tough game. They got really handled by Baylor. Baylor's a good team. I tell you what, I did watch this past weekend. There's some really good teams in the Big 12 and the Pac-12 out there. And SEC, we got good teams, but I don't know what's going to happen when they do that Final Four. Because if most of our guys have beat, have 2 losses and so forth, I would suspect that some of those Big 12, Pac-12 teams may be in the Final Four, and we may only get 1 in there. Who knows?
I know this is a little off topic, but I know you're a big proponent of FCS schools. How good is it to see a Coastal Carolina team you played last year move up to #1 in the country?
Yeah, that guy, Coach Mowgli, Joe's done an excellent job. There's no question, and be #1 in the nation this week. That's an honor. That's an honor. I'm sure he's getting his guys sort of yelling at them a little bit now. Let's don't let it get to our heads. But that is something you can look back and say, hey, we were #1 in the country there for a while. I remember first time at Florida when we were ranked there. And we held it for quite a while, I think. But obviously we all know it's who ends up #1. But it does tell Coastal, hey, we got a chance to win their championship when their playoffs start.
And you think that's a product of the 85 scholarship rule, Coach, that a lot of teams can put together some really good squads?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone has a pretty good chance. Their size schools they compete against are, I think, pretty close size-wise, money-wise, and what have you. So everybody's got pretty good facilities now, as we know, Glenn. So everybody can't win, as we know. But it's competitive. It's very competitive everywhere.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you, Coach.
Off the Field with the HBC, presented by Chick-fil-A. Visit our locations on Forest Drive and Two Notch Road. When you tailgate, punt the burger, ask the chicken. And by James W. Smith Real Estate at the beach. Ask about our Gamecock off-season special.